Hey, it's Dim. Welcome back to this series. I'm so happy to bring you the next chapter of this book called The Way of the Superior Man. If you've not seen our previous episodes, in this series we're doing a chapter by chapter read through of this incredible book and doing a little discourse at the end so you can apply practically the beautiful wisdom that's in this book into your life. So if you've not heard of this book, it's called The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida, a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire. But really, this is it's an incredible book for any man to navigate the challenges of life. Really is what I would say this book is about. So without further ado, I'd love to get into chapter 8, which is Lean Just Beyond Your Edge. And I can't wait for the discourse at the end of just this chapter, because this is such a powerful chapter. So Chapter 8, Lean Just Beyond Your Edge. In any given moment, a man's growth is optimized if he leans just beyond his edge, which is his capacity, his fear. He should not be too lazy, happily stagnating in the zone of security and comfort, nor should he push far beyond his edge, stressing himself unnecessarily, unable to metabolize his experience. He should lean just slightly beyond the edge of fear and discomfort constantly in everything that he does. Once you are honest with yourself about your real edge, it is best to practice to lean just beyond it. Very few men have the guts for this practice. Most men either settle for the easy path of self-aggrandize themselves by taking the extreme hard path. Your insecurity may cause you to doubt yourself, so you take the easy way, not even approaching your real edge or your real gift. Alternatively, your insecurity may lead you to push, seeking to become victorious over your own sense of lack. Both approaches avoid your actual condition in the moment, which is often fear. If you are stressfully avoiding your fear, you cannot relax into the fearless. Your fear is the sharpest definition of yourself. You should know it. You should feel it virtually constantly. Fear needs to become your friend, so you are no longer uncomfortable with it. Rather, primary fear shows you that you are at your edge. Staying with the fear, staying with your edge, allows real transformation to occur. Neither lazy nor aggressive, playing your edge allows you to perceive the moment with the least amount of distortion. You are willing to be what is, rather than trying to escape it by pulling back from it, or trying to escape it by pushing beyond into some further goal. Fear of fear may lead you to hang back, living a lesser life than you are capable. Fear of fear may lead you to push ahead, living a false life off center, tense and missing the moment. But the capacity to feel this moment, including your fear, without trying to escape it, creates a state of alive and humble spontaneity. You are ready for the unknown as it unfolds, since you are not pulled back or pushed forward from the horizon of the moment. You are hanging right over the edge. By leaning just beyond your fear, you challenge your limits compassionately, without trying to escape the feeling of fear itself. You step beyond the solid ground of security with an open heart. You stand in the space of unknowingness, raw and awake. Here, the gravity of deep being will attend you to the only place where fear is obsolete, the eternal free fall of home where you always are. Own your fear and lean just beyond it in every aspect of your life, starting now. Man, there's so much actually. There's so much that you can take from this chapter. Actually, it's really beautiful. I'm going to share with you a few thoughts, but actually you can take so much more than even what I'm going to explain to you here. Optimal growth happens at the border of support and challenge. The most secure thing I believe anyone can do, the best insurance policy I have found that anyone can do, is to continually grow. Because life will always present us with its twists and turns and new challenges. It will. That's the only truth that we can rely on in life, right? Which is change and new challenge. So the best way to ensure yourself as new challenges come, as they will in life, is to continually grow, to continually push the envelope, to continually become a stronger and better and greater version of yourself. That's the best insurance policy, in my opinion. Now, how you do that is what he's talking about in this chapter. You see, optimal growth happens at the border of support and challenge. So what he's saying is lean just beyond your fear. Go to the edge of your fear and lean just beyond it. So what that means is always be gently pushing the envelope. Always be gently trying to improve. What he also says in this chapter is, don't be hanging back, so caught in your insecurities you're not even approaching it, because then you're underdeveloping. And if you're underdeveloping, then when the real challenges of life come, it's going to be a lot harder for you. But he's also saying, don't push the pendulum the other way so much that you try to overdo it. You're so scared of being in the present, and you're so scared of confronting yourself that you're trying to take on too big a challenge, because you'll feel insecure if you're not taking on too big of a challenge. Maybe you feel like you need to take on a huge challenge so that other people think that you're amazing. Maybe you feel triggered by the thought that, if I take on a more humble challenge, maybe people won't think that I'm awesome. Maybe people think I'm a bit of a loser, right? Maybe this is ringing true for you. So you can either what he's saying is typically people take one of two sides of this pendulum. Either they don't even try because they're scared of what people will think of them or what they will think of themselves, or they'll try so hard the other way where they're going too hard because they want to prove something to others or to themselves. And what he's saying is either way you're not actually putting yourself in prime position to grow. So I can tell you with myself, I was swung on this side of the pendulum. Like I did not, it was too scary for me to confront where I actually was and what my actual opinion of myself was. I didn't want to think of myself. I feared that if I viewed myself honestly, I'd think of myself too low. So what I did was take on way too difficult a challenge. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to leave my corporate job and just go full pelt into building my business. And what ended up happening was I was absolutely dirt poor for 2 years. Me and my beautiful fiance at the time, we our cupboards were empty, our fridge was empty. We were hungry. We were physically hungry. And in that state, because I had pushed to too ambitious a goal, and we were just starved. We were physically hungry because I took on too much of a challenge, because I was trying to prove something to myself. I actually couldn't bring out the best of myself, because I was always under stress and I was always hungry. I wasn't actually able to grow properly. I was malnourished. it actually took me to consider going back to corporate and taking a lot of pressure off myself and accepting myself as a failure that allowed me, which was actually more accurate in the present. I just accept myself for where I was at. That actually allowed me to take a lot of pressure off myself, approach things in a much more of a balanced way, and actually, as a result, then my business grew exponentially after that. But it came with just me being very realistic about where I was in the moment and not trying to overdo it to try and prove anything to anyone. I would like to give you another analogy of a way to think about this. In the gym, if you're into the gym, you need also the right balance of support and challenge. So what's that mean in the gym? Support is like one side of the coin with the gym. To put on muscle, you can't just be lifting weights all the time. You also have to rest. You got to sleep well, you got to rest well, and you have to have good nutrition. So think of good nutrition and rest as the support side of the equation. The challenge side of the equation is you actually exercising in the gym and lifting weights and slowly, incrementally increasing the weights and the loading and the reps. That's the challenge side. But what would happen to you if all you did was lift weights and increase the weights and increase the heaviness, but you never rested and you never ate? Can you see you won't grow properly? You won't grow that well. And what if you just did the other side? You just ate and you just rested, but you never actually exercised. You'll grow too much, but you won't grow muscle, right? So you'll grow in a grotesque way. So actually the optimal growth happens at the border of support and challenge. That means you've got to look after resting and eating well and looking after yourself, but you've also got to challenge yourself. And what he's saying by leaning just beyond the edge is every week you're just trying to incrementally increase the weights that you're pushing or the reps that you're doing, or the time under the tension, right? So you're having that perfect balance of support and challenge, and every week you're slowly just trying to push yourself just a little bit more. And then what you get then is actually consistent little growth. Instead of just pushing too hard one way and having a massive swing the other way because you've got an injury or something bad happen. And if you want a nice visual analogy of this, if you've seen the Bitcoin chart, if you go on Google and you type in Bitcoin US dollar, you can see the Bitcoin chart is so volatile. It's up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's because some people just think Bitcoin's just going to go straight to the moon, right? But they're not paying attention to the other side of the coin, which is, hey, it needs to regulate, it needs to be approved, it needs to receive regulation, it needs to be integrated into the system. They're not thinking about the other side of the coin. They're just thinking that they're probably too scared to think about the risks of Bitcoin. All they want to think about is just the upside. They just think it's going to go to the moon. And you literally see it on the chart because they just, it initially just goes up like that, but then it gets a reality check because of whatever, the news or whatever, and then it just goes boom, and then it crashes down, and then it goes this and that, and it's very volatile. If you compare that with, for example, the S&P 500, which is the top 500 stocks and what the graph looks like there, it's much more even keel and steady. And that's because it's an aggregation of 500 stocks. It's a much more accurate representation of support and challenge, which is what real growth and optimal growth looks like. You need both. So what I recommend to you, my beautiful friend, is you are good enough as you are. Just accept yourself as you are. The best way to grow and to win the trust and likability of other people also is a man who's just honest about where he's at and where he's not at, is actually trusted by more people and is appreciated and loved by more people. Because you're just being real, and it takes courage and strength to be real. And if someone was to be real with you, my guess is you would actually really admire them because you know how hard it is. Everyone knows how hard it is, how courageous you have to be honest and real. So actually, one of the best strategies for you to actually be good enough is for you to just be real about where you're at and where you're not at. One of the best strategies for you to be accepted by people and actually feel the love and acceptance from people is for you to just be real about where you're at and not at, which sounds crazy, sounds counterintuitive, but actually it's actually quite logical. Take it from me, you are definitely good enough as you are. And your journey is not someone else's journey, and someone else may be ahead in you in X, Y, and Z, but you don't know the areas that they might be behind in you in. The amount of business owners I know who I used to compare myself with who are super successful, but when I get to know them, pretty much all of them blanket struggle in relationships. Because where they're really good in one area, man, they struggle in another area. And you might be really good in another area. So you got two ways to operate. You either be real volatile, where you do nothing and then you do everything, and then you crash and you do nothing and then you do everything. Or you just go, you know what? You drop the ego, you be humble, like he says in this book, and go, you know what, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm not at. But every day I'm gonna like have those honest conversations to try and slowly push myself just 1% better every day. You get the most growth when you do the hardest thing, and the hardest thing is being honest with yourself about where you're at and where you're not at. But just know, at the end of the day, you're a child of this universe. You don't belong anywhere else. There's no other universe for you to go to. You are born into this universe. This universe is your home. You're not supposed to be anywhere else. Your home. This is your home. You are just as worthy of being here as anyone else in this universe. You're just as worthy as anyone else. This is your home. You're not supposed to be anywhere else. You're supposed to be here. You're good enough. And you're home. So write down on a piece of paper where you're at, where you're not at. Have a look at that piece of paper and just give it acceptance. You're not supposed to be anywhere else. You're in a perfect place. You're home. You are good enough. And the universe is your mirror. If you can look at where you're at and just accept where you're at and commit. Here's the both sides. Support and challenge. Accept sincerely from the bottom of your heart where you're at and give yourself the challenge of getting 1% better every day. If you're trying to give yourself the challenge of getting 100% better, you're probably not truly accepting where you're at, because where you're at has its own merits. Maybe you as you are, maybe you're not good in whatever finances, but maybe you're great in relationships. That's part of accepting where you're at. That's a beautiful thing about where you're at. Or maybe you're great in finances and business, but you're not great at relationships. So give yourself credit where credit's due. Accept where you're at. And then from that gentle, grounded place of acceptance, give yourself the challenge, which is 1% better every day. And what that will give you is consistency, and consistency will compound. And when consistency compounds, that's when you make the serious breakthroughs, and you will. I know you will. So I think this was a bit of a longer video than we normally do, but I hope you enjoyed it. I would love for you to connect with me on Instagram. At dimhapper. You'll find my links below. Please do connect with me on Instagram. It's a great joy. Thanks for watching along. Please do share this video with anyone that you think will benefit from it. Please, let's create the next generation of conscious men. We can do it together. We're in the prime position to create a conscious, beautiful world. But it's on us to do our part, to share consciousness to share good messages. And if you believe that this was a good message, then please do share it. So thank you for joining me. I cannot wait to see you at the next video. Okay, bye.